Hey everyone, this is Chad Owen with my co-host with some of the most seven-figure annuity sales. And you know what? It's been a while since we've done one of these together. We've done a lot of best of, and you guys may not know that because we just look the same age all the time. We don't age at all.
Oh yeah.
Well, you do look, I don't know. I'm still figuring out what you're doing with your hair right there. If you guys don't watch the actual YouTube channel, you probably should because this is something special. He looks like what's that guy on The Incredibles? The blonde
Oh,
dude.
syndrome.
Syndrome. Yeah, you look like Syndrome. So way up like that. The kid that was always picked on that now wants to be something that,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, he was the no
yeah.
offense to any redheads out there, but he was the redheaded freckled stepchild that never got any love.
Oh, so
Oh.
Grant, my son-in-law, he talks about he's redhead, and it said, "What are you gonna do if you have a redheaded kid?" And he goes, "Give him away." I'm like, "You are not giving him away." I was like, "Oh
That's
man."
crazy.
He was joking, of course, and Ariel
Yeah.
wasn't around because Ariel would have killed him.
Yeah.
But he did say it in front of Leilani. So, well,
Shoo, that's risky.
yeah, what do you got on the plate today?
Man, I wanted to catch up. It's been so long, and there's been a lot of production and trips and all kinds of things. And just to update us, Chad, on your business and what you've done, what you've been finding successful. I mean, it's pretty conversational, low key conversation today.
Good. Well, I know, anybody who follows me on LinkedIn and Facebook, I'm very open about what my life pertains. I mean, I don't hide a lot. And when things are tough, I let you know. When things are great, I let you know. But it's actually been a pretty good year. We are building a house right now, our dream home. I mean, when you think about, I was just sitting in the house just the other day and I was thanking God so much. I'm like just so grateful. And I started to think about where everything started. I mean, back in
Yeah.
the jewelry business, then running a LASIK eye surgery center, then selling mortgage protection insurance, and then moving into annuities, and now being one of the leaders in the entire United States in the annuity arena. The journey is crazy. There's so many trials and tribulations, but there's so many rewards. And we're building this house that literally backs up to a lake, which has some of the biggest 14 and 13,000 feet peaks behind that. And we have a full view of that. And it faces west, which we get some of the most incredible sunsets. And I'm so looking forward to that because you and I were just talking about this. I mean, this year has been so busy, so crazy busy. And one of my, like, if you took three visual things, not including my wife, because visually that she just makes me happy. But I'm talking about like if I have a sunset, water, and mountains, it really just kind of calms me. And
Yeah.
I'll be able to stare at this. Literally, my new office is going to be over that, looking at all the time. And then I have a view of 14,000 plus foot Long's Peak. And I know people say, well, this isn't really annuity training. This isn't annuity podcast. People need to understand. And the refresher is that's $150,000 in credit card debt. My daughter had a brain aneurysm. She was in the ICU on a ventilator for 7 days, in the ICU for 11 days, in the hospital for 43 days. She had to learn how to walk, talk, eat, everything all over again. My wife found out she had skin cancer. We've had all these close calls, like, one of my daughters, her appendix burst when she was older. And, it was pretty scary. And one of my daughters, when she was 3 months old, that she had some sort of virus or something. And they said, you know what, you need to be prepared. We don't know if she's going to make it. And, you think about the people that have slimed me over the years, they're like scammed me out of money, or they, said they were going to help or be a part of things. And you have all that builds this beautiful thing. And it's important to not stop. It's important to keep going and keep going. And, little Dory, keep swimming, just keep swimming. That's kind of really what it comes down to. And, I want to encourage people that life is all about who you get to do things with. I used to think it was about achieving this, achieving that, getting this X number of dollars, having this kind of house, having this kind of truck. And it's not. It's who do we get to do life with? Because the journey and the memories is far greater than the destination. Because if you get to that destination and you don't have anybody around there to enjoy it with you, it's lame. It's
Mm-hmm.
like there's no purpose once you get
Yep.
there. And so I'm just, if I can encourage anybody that's listening to this, remember every log in the middle of the road, snake we run across on the path, bear, which I always say if you run away from a bear, you'll never get a bear tooth necklace. So don't run from the bear, get the necklace. Can you imagine how cool that would be?
That would
You
be
know, you have the
awesome.
claws and then you have the teeth hanging down.
I'd
Bear
want
tooth. A
like a
hood.
jacket. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Hood.
yeah. Anyway, that will happen someday. That'll happen someday. But you know, every trial, if you focus more on how great things are and you're grateful, you start to realize that those things really don't matter. I mean, if you think about a lady who goes through labor, it's intense, man, especially if you don't have pain meds, things like that. It's super intense. But once that baby comes out, you're like, oh my gosh, this is my child. And everything you went through gets forgotten because you're like just staring at this beauty. And literally, our businesses are babies. You know, they cry, they poop all over the place. We got to feed them all the time. You know, I mean, businesses can be challenging.
Yeah.
But if you stop and stare at the beauty, and my wife and I will do this at times, and I bring her up a lot because we've been married for 32 years, man. I can literally stare at her in her eyes and I forget about everything. I mean, it's literally like a refuge. But man, we also have those times where we're just going, oh, you remember this? Remember when we had to go through that? Remember, we've never had a, oh my gosh, that was close moment with our marriage. We are 100% diehard. We're committed. There's no way there's divorce ever. It's nothing's that bad. But I look at the things, there's still all these things on the outside that will hit you. And a lot of it, honestly, I was talking with my son last night and he goes, well, you work for yourself. And he said, okay, so who do I get to complain to when there's problems?
Yeah.
You know, you can go
Nobody's
to your
gonna
boss.
listen.
Yeah. You can go to your boss and you can say, hey, I don't like this and this. Can this be fixed? That's easy. Now
Yeah.
have problems that you can't fix. You know, the DOL tries to do their thing. Some crooked politician tries to put their stupid rules on you. You know, you have all these things that can hit you. Who do you complain to? I mean, I know I talk to God a lot. I'm just saying, hey, this is way above my head. I need help here.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have all these things, but we're going for the end thing. And the end thing is, what do you see your life being in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years? And often I see my life as a reflection of what I would see through my kids or my grandkids' eyes. That's
Yeah.
really where my focal point's coming in. I don't have grandkids yet, but you know what? That's a focal point. What legacy do I get to leave? So today's topic is more just about let's stop focusing on for this moment, this 15, 20-minute moment. Let's not focus on this is how we do things. This is the process. This is what's going on in our industry. But sit there and really reflect on what do you want to come out of this beautiful business that we get to do together. So
Yeah.
there's
It's
my rant for the day.
I like it. One of the thoughts that came to mind, Chad, was this idea that the more you have, the more you realize that more is pointless if you don't have the people. You
Yeah.
know, it's like the more you have, the more you realize that more is pointless
We
if
just
you don't have the other pieces in play. So yeah, while we're planning, you know, a 10, 15, 20-year career, however much longer you have, you know, if you're as a listener in this business, if you forego all the things that make it worthwhile, all the things that you're actually working toward, the things that truly matter, and you get to that 10, 15, 20-year end and you've crushed it
yeah.
financially, for what?
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, you just got back
Especially if you
from a trip, Turks
well,
and Caicos.
that's kind of where I did a lot of reflections. So if you guys have ever seen Lilo and Stitch, Stitch gets stuck on the island of Kauai, which there's not a lot to do on that island. And he's used to destroying things, big cities. There's no big cities. So he literally had to reflect on, I'm no longer the destruction person. And he found family. And I know it's a Disney movie, but it's so deep because I'm sitting by the pool. There's nothing to do on that island, man. And I had my first 2 full body massages, and I'm like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. And then we just sit around the pool and we're relaxing. And I'm sitting there, I'm holding my wife's hand. We're sitting on this bungalow thing, and I'm holding her hand. And I see a guy next to me that won the same trip, but he was by himself. And I'm sitting there going, that would really suck. That would really suck that you're just, granted, there's a lot of value in alone time.
Sure.
But a lot of times people are alone because they never played nice in the sandbox. So they get to their 50, 55 years old and they're not married and they're by themselves and nobody wants to be around them. It's because you're probably a jerk most of your life. That's not always the case, obviously. But when I think about, what we get to do, hanging around with people that I love and that literally fought the battle with me is what it's all about.
Yeah. That's really good. I mean, and I think that's a case in point example. I mean, I remember talking to you while you were in Turks and Caicos, and you were like, you felt rested, you felt good, you were ready to get back to it. But I think for a lot of agents, we can look at those carrier trips, we can look at the lifestyle and think, oh man, that's the dream, that's the goal. And then yet there you are in it. And this is an interesting thing. There you are in it, being having already been filled up by it, ready to get back to it, like back to work, back to the grind. And I think that mentality is one that leads to that kind of success. I think a lot of times people think about, oh man, I want to do this thing. I want to sprint for 10 years and then coast for 40. Yeah. And the interesting thing about you is that it's actually the inversion. It's like you do sprint, but you take time and then you refill and then you sprint again. But as you filled up, it's like the drive to get back to the sprint is there. So you don't look at it as like, oh, I'm trying to get to a point where I get to coast. It's like the coasting isn't an option. You take the breaks, you rest when you need to, but when you're on, you're on. And it's all systems go and it's full steam ahead. And I think that's a good thing for agents to just take away from the conversation today is when you're on, be on. When you're off, be off. And ultimately it comes down to being present. Chad, we talk about our faith a lot. Every year on my birthday, I like to ask the Lord, just God, what do you like? What does this next year of my life look like from your perspective? What are some things that you want me to grow in? What are some things that you have for me to develop? And for this year, he said, is a year of developing in stewardship, growing in stewardship, which is interesting because 2024, last year, he said it was a year of intentionality. Well, as I started thinking about it, I was like, you can't steward anything that you're not intentional with.
100%.
Like intentionality is a foundational piece of actually being able to steward anything that you're given. Time, money, relationships, opportunities, any of it.
And the interesting thing...
Go ahead.
And I like how every year you ask God, just like, can you please continue to give me just an incredible gift? And I still stay in your life every single year.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Although I think you got a little bit of a gift going on. It starts with an A and an L and an I. So we're hoping
She's special.
Yeah, she is special. We're hoping Caleb we're hoping 2025 ends in a wedding. That's all I can say. That's the
end of 2025, Chad, is only 10 months away.
Dude, I met Leilani October 10th. I got engaged, she became my girlfriend January 20th. I got engaged June 20th, and we got married January 31st.
That's wild.
If you
crazy.
You know.
That's crazy.
And, dude, you're getting old too.
Oh,
it's no longer teasing
starting to get
about,
gray.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Maybe I'd actually be able to close an annuity sale.
No,
if I get some gray going.
you still have the baby face. You can't get past that. Yeah.
Oh,
awesome. Man. Well, this was a good one. So
be intentional, be present. Yeah, like I think ultimately is the call to action today.
And enjoy the journey. And it's a lot better when you have people around you that you love. So I hope this helps you. And of course, I haven't said this in a while. Happy selling.